Hey guys, welcome back to Cooper Stuff. All right, in a second, we're going to jump into some conversations about vaccine mandates for your children. So we're going to jump into all sorts of stuff. Probably going to make some people mad because that's what we do, apparently. Let me start with a question. I'm serious, totally serious. Imagine that you are a parent. Imagine that you give your kid an 11 o'clock curfew. And that kid comes in Friday night at midnight. And you're like, dude, you're an hour late. And your kid's like, no, I'm not. I thought my curfew was 11. And you're like, all right, don't do it again. And then guess what happens next Friday night? Your kid comes in 11:30 and you're like, dude, what's up? Your curfew's 11. And they're like, oh, I thought it was 11:30. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I'll correct myself. And then the next week they show up late. And the next week they say, well, my car broke down. The next week, sorry, my phone died. I didn't know where I was. I had to get directions. The next week, sorry, my friends wouldn't bring me home. I didn't know. And here's my question for you. Are you being a good parent by saying it's okay, they corrected themselves, they didn't know any better? Are you being a prudent parent by saying, I'm just going to be nice to them because I love them and I trust them? Are you promoting truth? Are you promoting truth, or are you promoting lies when you know that they're lying time and time again? Or you wonder, and it happens over and over and over, are you being prudent? Are you promoting truth, or are you actually supporting lies because you know it's not true? Even worse than that, are you being a good parent? Are you being a godly parent? Are you stewarding what God has given you to steward by allowing that to go on? Or are you actually being a dishonorable, bad steward because you are not promoting truth to your kids? And we know that if you don't promote truth when it comes to a curfew, then it's going to get worse and worse. They're going to lie about a curfew. They're going to lie about something worse. Then they're going to lie about something worse. Are you promoting then destruction and wickedness? Yes, the answer is yes, you are. How do I know that? Because it's kind of like human nature from the Bible. Read it, learn it. Cooper Stuff's smart. Why am I saying that? I got some bad news for you today. That's an analogy. Here's some bad news, and I don't want to make anybody's day worse. I don't want to give you the sads, but you're never prepared for this. I'm sorry, about to drop some knowledge on you. Listen, the media is lying to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why do you give us the sads? I know, nobody could ever know that. That's why you watch Cooper Stuff. This is genius stuff. The media is not correcting itself. The media is lying to you. They are promoting lies and propaganda. Am I saying 100% of the time? No. But most of the time, they have a slant and they are lying to you. Are we being good stewards if we don't hold them accountable? If we don't talk about it? Here's what we're going to jump into today. We're going to jump in. Are Christians even supposed to get involved in this stuff? Maybe that's not a gospel issue. Why are you talking about this? Because it's going to really matter. We're talking about vaccine mandates. What they're trying to do with our kids, trying to promote the vaccine to children. We're talking about, is that really a good idea? Is the media maybe using propaganda to do that? Are they maybe lying? Hint, yes. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cooper Stuff. Okay, the media is lying to us. Big shocker, we know that. Even when the media is correcting themselves, all they're basically saying is, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was supposed to be on 11. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know that, blah, blah. I didn't know that my friend's car was gonna... That's all that they mean. They're lying to you. Love the truth, stand against the media. The media is lying to you. They know they're lying to you. They're lying to you because they think they're doing something actually good. They want to scare the ever-living poop out of you. That is their job. Their job is to scare you so much that you will do anything and everything that all of our overlords tell you. That's all of our cultural elites, right? That's the media, that's the medical establishment, that's big government, that's big tech. All in it together to scare you to death so that you will do anything that they want you to do. They have completely lost their sight on what right and wrong is, on what even truth and lies is. And that's what happens when you begin to lie. You get so deceived that you come to a point when you can't even tell, and it's not that you can't tell what is right and wrong anymore. You begin to think that evil things are actually good. And the media knows they're doing it. I'm going to read you a new report that's come out today about that. Before we jump into it, I want to tell you about our sponsor. It's awesome. Okay, guys, let me tell you about something that I am excited about, and you guys know that I talked about it last week, and we had a great response. We are living in incredibly crazy times. As you know, inflation is on the rise. Everything is more expensive right now. We have home prices, vehicle prices, gas prices, all these things are going up. The government has run up the national debt, you guys, to $28 trillion. It's actually more than $28 trillion, which is absolutely insane. In fact, there was more U.S. debt issued in 1 month post-COVID than the total national debt accumulated in the first 200 years of the country's history. That is why you should do what I do. Think about diversifying a part of your savings or retirement into precious metals. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just telling you something that I like, okay? I think you should at least look into it. The company that I trust and I buy my gold from, as you know, is SD Bullion. I love them. Founded by 2 Christians, SD Bullion is one of the largest, lowest priced, and most trusted precious metal retailers in the country. Unlike US dollars, gold and silver cannot be printed and have been used for investing in money for thousands of years. You already know that. Plus, it's awesome. You get to hold it. It's just really cool, okay? Whether you would like to put gold and silver into an IRA, or if you would want to ship it to your door, which is what I've done, it's safe, it's fast, it's easy, all right? SD Bullion can help you diversify into precious metals. If you want more information or you're ready to protect your assets with gold and silver now, contact my friends, you met them last week on our sweet podcast, at SD Bullion by texting Cooper. Can you remember that? Cooper to 465322. That is 465322. You will get a free gold and silver investing guide with an exclusive discount on your first order. So again, it's Cooper, you know it, it's my last name, to 465322. If you want an easy thing to remember for the numbers, if you can't remember it, it spells gold 22. Can you remember that? Gold 22. Just text Cooper to 465322 or gold 22 to protect your savings today. I hope you like it as much as I do. Okay, so we Christians should love the truth. We know that, right? We should love the truth. And for young people, especially if you're listening, or young in God, you know, as a Christian, okay? Loving the truth is more than just loving Jesus. Yes, it is loving Jesus. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Yes, the truth is wrapped up in that. So when you love the truth, it begins with loving Christ. That is absolutely the case. But it's more than that. Sometimes when we say, hey, we love the truth, in our minds as Christians, we are limiting the truth in our brains, maybe without knowing it, to meaning like when I die. So when I die, the eternal truth of Christ, that my life is found in him, I've repented for my sins, and he's given me a brand new heart. That's the truth that I have to love. But it's more than that. We are supposed to love the truth. That is the world that you see. That is the world around you. It's what you see with your eyes. It is the very reality that is defined by God, not defined by us. Certainly not defined by a media who is using propaganda constantly so that they can rule your life in an authoritarian fashion. All right, we're going to jump into that. We are supposed to love the truth. I'm going to get into why. Should we even be fighting about this stuff? Is this really a gospel issue, John? Yes, it is. I want to read some scriptures. This isn't going to be any sort of like systematic theology thing. These are just scriptures, Psalms and Proverbs, about why that it actually matters that we live a lifestyle that loves the truth. Because if we do not, then that means we will love deception. We will love deceitfulness. We will love things that God hates, right? If we do not follow the leading of the Spirit and we follow deceit and lies, we will end up loving things that God hates. Ooh, hello. Proverbs 14:8. The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of fools is deception. You hear that? One of the things that I keep hearing from a lot of Christians right now is, it's not about trying to decide about whether the government is pushing too far on vaccine mandates, or whether there's this mandate to make sure that your kid has a vaccine before they go to school, like in California, or yada, yada, whatever. Whatever it is that the government's doing to overreach, right? Cultural cancellation, deplatforming, like from people like me or even people like you, going to your kid's school, to a PTA meeting or a school board education meeting, saying, I don't want these books in the libraries at my kid's school that's teaching about all the various sexual things. You already know what that is. And then the government says, no, you're not allowed to do that. Should we even really care about that stuff? Why are you giving so much thought to all these things? There is a pattern that you will see if you take the time to read Proverbs. You will find out. And most people watching Cooper stuff know this, but there are some people, especially like Christians, that don't like to get involved in the civil realm. Like, that's not my argument. I'm not a political person. You're going to find out, yeah, but it's not really about politics. All political views have a religious foundation. Even if you're an anti-religious person, if you're an atheist person, there is something underneath that is a core value, right? That is what gives you your political views. You're going to see a pattern in this. So let's read it again. The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of fools is deception. Proverbs 12:17. An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells lies. That might sound obvious. John, it's obvious. Is it though? Is it? Is it? Let's read it again. An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells what? Lies. You see, we have a culture right now that is so used to telling lies, it doesn't even know it because they believe they're telling truth. This is what we have in woke culture, is it not? This is what the author Shelby Steele, as I talked about, he calls it poetic truth. In my book, I call it relativistic truth. It's relativism, or I have a deeper truth, right? That's kind of like the idea. We've become so used to being in a culture, and we're going to get to the media, because this is what the media does, that a culture that doesn't believe in absolute truth the way that Christians are supposed to believe in absolute truth. Hello, I say supposed to, because we're finding out there's an entire generation of Christians, now a brand new younger generation of Christians as well, Generation Z, that does not believe in absolute truth. That's a real problem. Anyway, we have an entire culture. They believe in poetic truth. What is poetic truth? Poetic truth is like saying, let's say that some guy gets in a fight with his wife. He gets really mad at her. He goes out to a bar and he gets drunk, okay? Shouldn't do that, but he did. And he comes back and the next morning she's like, where were you last night? And he's like, I was out with my friends, right? But he really wasn't. He was at a bar getting drunk, but he doesn't tell her that. But he feels like he's not actually lying. Why? Because he believes there's a poetic truth. There is a deeper truth. There is a relativistic truth here that he's like, well, it's your fault that I went out drinking because you were treating me bad. You're not giving me whatever attention. You're not giving me what I need. You came in yelling at me. You took out your problems on me, or this, that, the other, whatever it is. You were being a jerk. And so, yeah, you pushed me away and I went and did that, but that's not really my fault. The deeper truth is that you were being a bad wife. So it doesn't really matter if I actually say what is absolute truth, which is I went down the street and I got hammered drunk because I was really mad at you and I was being selfish. That's the truth, right? Truth is, yeah, I sinned. And now I'm sinning again by lying about it, but in a certain way, you kind of deserve that. Not to get off on a tangent, but we see that a lot with marital infidelities or even pornography. We see with people that are either addicted to pornography or sometimes watch pornography. Maybe they wouldn't say they're addicted. They probably are. They just don't call it that. But we see it when they're like, yeah, but my spouse is not really giving me the attention that I deserve. He or she is always tired. They're always this. There's always the kids. They don't want to, whatever. So yeah, I did that. I watched pornography, but that's not really my fault because they did it. That is a poetic truth. That is called deception. That's exactly what the serpent said, kind of like says to Eve. And yeah, but, right? Yeah, did God really say that? That's a little bit what that's like. That is not truth. We Christians are supposed to love the truth. That might sound really obvious to people, but we don't actually always live that like that in our real lives, do we? I know that I don't. Can I be honest? I don't always do that. Sometimes I go, yeah, but on a deeper level, this and this. That is a lie. That is a lie. An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells lies. Proverbs 12:5, the plans of the righteous are just, but the advice of the wicked is deceitful. I'm not going to keep going. We could read a million scriptures on this one thing. Why am I saying that? I am saying that because the media believes that they have a deeper truth. This is the same thing for woke culture. It is the same thing for right now what I would call leftist authoritarianism, all right? It's all wrapped up in postmodernism, of course, which doesn't believe in absolute truth, relativism, It's all wrapped up in this. There is a deeper truth, and we elites know better than you do. You don't know what to do with your kids. You don't know what to do with the political realm. You don't know what your kids should be learning at school. You don't know blah, blah, blah. But we know because we are the elites, and we are going to lead you into a better place. And so even if we have to say things that aren't exactly true on the way, on a deeper level, they are actually true. That's what they mean. So they don't think that they're lying. So what they do is they just use a ton of propaganda. We saw this with Dr. F. I think you know who I mean. Just like with Dr. F, when he's asked months ago, what do we have to get to herd immunity on these vaccines? He's like, well, I think if we can get to, 60 to 70% or whatever it is, I can't remember. I think that'll be, yada, yada. Changes months later, and then they ask why, and he's like, look, basically what he's saying is nobody can really handle the truth. And so if I just come out and say we need 90% protection, people are going to freak out and they're never going to go do it, so that I am going to lie in order to get to something really good. I'm going to do something dirty to get clean. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to lie to people because they can't handle it. So now it's like, well, we really need 70 to 85%, closer to 90%. Why are you doing that? Because we have a deeper truth, which is that everybody needs to be vaccinated up in here. That's the deeper truth, because we love people and you don't know what to do. Let me say it again, because I have to do it every week. I'm not anti-vax. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, I just said it, go online. Now, anti-vax, they've changed the definition of that. Now, even if you are against vaccine mandates, you are called anti-vax, according to modern definitions. Do you see how easy it is to change? All you got to do is change the word. I don't have a beard. Well, really what it means is that's all I do. Well, really all it means is if I don't think that every other man on the planet should have a beard, then you're against beards. So that's what they do. They just manipulate it. You change the language. And then all the woke Christians go, language always changes. Why are you being so mean? Be nice. Give them the happies. Because they're lying, bruh. Oh, I got to tell you, I believe this. And a lot of people are going to not be happy with the doggy, but I don't care. There are a lot of people who say they're Christians. I'm not saying they're not. I'm sure they're saved. They don't actually love the truth. That's what it's about. They have a bunch of excuses. I'm not saying that they know it. They have a bunch of excuses. I didn't know curfew was 11. I didn't know this. My friend did this. They have a bunch of excuses, but they don't actually love the truth. Do you see what I'm saying? Because they don't actually get mad when they're lied to. They don't get mad about the deceit. They're like, so they changed the definition. What's the big deal? They're changing the definition for propaganda so that they can lie to you. That should actually kind of matter, I would think, all right? So this is what the media does, and they've done it in a major way. The media keeps using propaganda, and they just keep lying. Then, every once in a while, months later or whatever, they'll finally print a correction very quietly, all right? So I want to read this. Before I read it, I promise you I'm only going to spend 60 seconds on this. There is a large group of Christians, and I love them. I love them. I just think they're wrong about this. They think that the things that I'm getting ramped up about Cooper's stuff, and all you people that love watching Cooper's stuff, they think that we're being fanatical. They're like John or you person watching Cooper's stuff saying, woo, I love it. Why are you so worked up about this stuff? This is not the gospel. That is not what this is. You're getting worked up about something you can't do about it, anything about anyway. It's just the political realm. You don't have to get political. We need to tell people about the gospel. Yes, the gospel is the most important thing that there is. But I have a quick test for you. I'm not going to do a whole big long thing on this, but let me just say this. And I mean this with all my heart. My question for you, if you're watching right now, this is my challenge to you. What about people who started the Underground Railroad? What about Christians who said, we believe that slavery is so evil and so wicked and so vile and so against the law of God, right? It is such a violation against the law of God, and the fact that God created us to have personal liberties, right? A form of autonomy under the lordship of Christ, every individual. They had such a problem with that they believed the work of God for them was to create the Underground Railroad to help slaves escape. What some people may even call Don't get me wrong. Some people may even call theft. I wouldn't call it theft because it was wicked what was doing, but they were breaking the law, and in a certain twisted worldview, you would call that theft, right? Because those slaves were, quote, owned by someone else. So they are helping basically in breaking the law. Now, I don't think that's theft. I think that is a righteous law breaking. I wish that I would do it had I been there. Don't know if I would. I don't know if I would have been that godly of a man. I don't know if I would have had the courage and the guts to do it. But I really hope that I would have, because those people are heroes. My question for you is this. Was that a gospel issue for them? Is that what the kingdom does on the earth? Or is it like, hey, why are you getting involved in that? That's a political issue. That's not what we do. You just tell people about Christ. Yeah. Do they lead all those slaves to the Lord? Do they give them a gospel presentation? Do you see what I'm trying to say? That is a quick test to say, are we supposed to be involved in these issues or not? Now, I am not conflating slavery to what is happening now with vaccine mandates. So please, nobody put that up on some stupid site. John says whatever. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is this. If you let your child get away with breaking curfew time after time after time after time, that kid's going to do something worse, right? You've given them liberty. You have not loved the truth. You have taken place in deception. You've taken part in deception. I mean, you're kind of culpable, right? You are culpable for not loving the truth. You are culpable in the deception. And once that kid does that, they're going to do the next thing, and they're going to do the next thing. So I am not comparing what is happening now to the evils of slavery. Do I think that it could get to a place where we've been saying this for a year now. Could it get to a place where you could lose your job for not getting a vaccine? Yes. A year ago, people were like, why are you being so radical and extreme? It's happening now. We know this. Are we getting to a place where the government may force your child to have a vaccine? Yes. Right? A year ago, that was conspiracy theory. It's happening now. And a lot worse. There's a lot of bad things happening. That is my quick pitch on why, yes, Christians should be getting involved in these things. Why? Because we love the truth. That is why. And a government that is not acknowledging the lordship of Jesus Christ is a government that is in idolatry. Our government is in idolatry because they believe that they are God. They don't believe they are under God. They believe that they are God. And that is proven for the fact that they are jumping out of their sphere of sovereignty into our sphere of sovereignty to make your kids get a vaccine, to make you get a vaccine, to do whatever. I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not even anti this vaccine. These mandates are authoritarian. They are evil, and the church needs to rebuke it. That's my opinion. Let's jump onto this. Let me read you a stunning, stunning article. Okay, here's the article. This is from the Daily Wire. You can see it on other platforms as well. I just read this because it's succinct. The New York Times was forced to issue multiple major corrections for an article published on Wednesday that falsely claimed 900,000 children had been hospitalized for COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. You know, what's funny about this, before I go on the article, I first saw this from a friend's social media post. Somebody that I know that we don't agree on literally anything, but I love her. She loves me. We're friends. So she's posting this. This is evil. 900,000 kids hospitalized, and all those anti-vaxxers are killing children. I remember seeing it, and I was like, 900,000 children being hospitalized? What are they talking about? That doesn't sound right to me, but I'm so busy. I don't have time to go look up every little thing, right? I don't have time to fact check every single thing. And this is how we are being bombarded every day. And this is why it is so real, because you're in a friendship with someone that you love and they make a claim and you're like, I don't know what to say about that. It makes you feel crazy. I don't know what to say about that, but that doesn't sound right to me. That just sounds like propaganda to me. So let's go back to the article. Listen to this. The New York Times was forced to issue, okay, I said blah, blah, blah. The full correction reads, this is the correction. This isn't the original article. This is just the correction they wrote, okay? An earlier version of this article incorrectly described actions taken by regulators in Sweden and Denmark. They have halted use of the Moderna vaccine in children. They have not begun offering single doses. The article, the article also misstated the number of COVID hospitalizations in U.S. children. It is more than 63,000 from August 2020 to October 21. Not 900,000 since the beginning of the pandemic. What? Did you hear that? We misstated it. Sorry. It wasn't 900,000. It's 63,000. You hear that? 900,000. Sorry, it's my bad. 63,000. Imagine somebody, going to buy a house or something like that. How much is it? $900,000. Oh, sorry. $63,000. Okay. Well, there you go. Anyway, in addition, the article misstated the timing of an FDA meeting on authorization of Pfizer BioNTech vaccine for children. It's later this month, not next week. So let me read a little bit more of this, okay? And while the Times article discusses how other countries are trying to balance the risk of vaccinating children, it notes that the U.S. is doing things differently. One infectious diseases physician told the outlet that we've had a significant impact on our pediatric population. This is when the Times originally claimed 900,000 children has been hospitalized during the pandemic. The article now says 63,000 children were hospitalized between August 2020 and October 2021. It also states that 520 children have died due to COVID-19, without noting how small a fraction that is compared to the hundreds of thousands of adults who have died during the pandemic, or noting the low likelihood children have of getting COVID, period. Continuing on the article, as New York Post columnist Carol Markowitz noted on Twitter, the article addresses that other countries are slowing down on vaccinating children 12 to 17, either stopping it altogether or just giving one dose. The whole piece is about how other countries are weighing the risk, and then in the U.S., we're like, nah, let's just do it. That is actually a pretty good, thing. So here's what I'm trying to say. John, you're being too harsh. They corrected it. Do you understand how many people are involved in writing an article for the New York Times? This isn't some internet blogger. This isn't, Cooper stuff. I mean, I come on Cooper stuff and I talk about the thing. I share things. I talk for an hour every week. There's a lot of pressure to do those things. I don't have an editor. I don't have a producer. I don't have a fact checker. I don't have all these things. And New York Times has all of that. How can they keep printing stuff that is so absolutely inaccurate? And then later, sorry, my bad, correction. Not 900,000 kids have been hospitalized, 63,000. That is remarkable. I believe that if we go, hey, these things happen, if we continue to say that, then you are the parent. And I say it to all my Christian friends that I love, if you're watching, that disagree with me, I got to say lovingly, you are the parent that is going, they just keep getting curfew wrong. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. They're nice people. Love them. Be nice. Show them love. That's what you're doing. They are lying to you. Why? Because they believe they have a deeper truth. They have poetic truth. They have a deeper truth than you do, which is that 100% vaccination is righteousness. That is what justice is. That is their deeper truth. It's not actually true, right? It's not actually true. And I'm going to show you some other articles that are remarkable. Listen to this. How evil it is. I'm saying evil. I am not against the vaccine, as you know. It is evil to force a vaccine onto children when you have the research that we already have. This is not me making stuff up. I've told you guys the articles. Go Google it. Go look it up on the internet. Boys 12 to 15 years old are 4 to 6 times more likely to be hospitalized from having the vaccine than if they just had COVID to start with. Why would we continue to do that? Now, it's your choice if you want to do it with your kids or not. I'm not telling you what to do. But what I am saying is a government that forces you to do it is evil. They are just ignoring what is happening. And why is the U.S. doing this so differently than countries in Europe? Let's look at some articles. All right, here's one here. Denmark, Norway, and Iceland suspend AstraZeneca COVID shots after blood clot reports. This is October 7, 2021. So this is just recently. Health authorities in Denmark, Norway, and Iceland on Thursday suspended the use of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine following reports of the formation of blood clots in some people who had been vaccinated. That was on a health site called myjoyonline.com. You can look up there. Here's one, msn.com. This is Bloomberg. What's the date on this thing? It says it was 3 days ago. So, whenever this is within the last week, whenever this podcast comes out, okay? So here it is, msn.com, Bloomberg, Sweden, Denmark halt Moderna's COVID shot for younger people. Sweden and Denmark decided to halt vaccinations with Moderna's COVID-19 shot for younger people because of potential side effects. Where is it? The Swedish Health Authority Wednesday cited new data on the increased risk of heart inflammation as a reason for the pause for those, listen, for those aged 30 and under. Denmark will stop giving the shot to those younger than 18. So Denmark's stopping for anybody younger than 18, and they're pausing on age 30 and under. This isn't even your 12 to 15-year-olds. So that is, what did I just say? I'm getting all my countries confused. Sweden and Denmark. Well, there's another article that came out. This is Yahoo. Reuters. Finland joins Sweden and Denmark in limiting Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. This is October 7th. So this is just happened. Finland on Thursday paused the use of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine for younger males due to reports of a rare cardiovascular side effect, joining Sweden and Denmark in limiting its use. I'm not going to keep on reading that over and over because we already know this. We also saw already, as you know, I told you guys last week, the UK is saying we should not give the vaccine to 12 to 15-year-olds because of the same thing, myocarditis and these issues. And based on the research that said that especially boys are 4 to 6 times more likely to be hospitalized from the vaccine than if they just had COVID. Well, what is America doing? What is California doing? They're saying your kid can't go to school unless they get the vaccine. That is something that an evil, wicked government does. Now I ask you this, is it righteous for a Christian to join in the Underground Railroad? If your answer is yes, I personally hope your answer is yes, because slavery is an incredibly wicked thing, one of the most wicked things we've seen on the earth. I would imagine most Christians would say, well, yeah, I would think that a Christian should do that. Well, then my question for you is that why wouldn't we get involved when a government is stepping out of its sphere of sovereignty? Biblically, the government does not have the authority under God to force your kid to take this thing. That is not something that the government has to do. That is wickedness. That is idolatry. You're out of your realm. Just like the church, right? The church shouldn't, kill people that are murderers, right? That's not the job of the church. That is the job of the government. The government brings the sword, not the church, right? It is absolute wickedness. And if they can force you to lock down, they can force you to get a vaccine, they can force your kids to get a vaccine, well, then why can't they force you to only have one child? Only 3 kids or whatever it is. I say 3 kids because there was a whole thing that came up this week. Congressperson that put this thing saying that men, after they have 3 kids or reach the age 40, should have forced vasectomies. That just hit in Congress. They just put that legislation out within last week. We're not going to talk about it, but that's why 3 kids is in my mind. The point is if we are to be involved, whether we're talking about the Underground Railroad, or if you think that Corrie ten Boom was truly a hero because she hid, actually her father was the household, her family hid Jews upstairs when the Nazis were coming by. If you think that she's a hero for doing that, then why can't we be a hero for standing up to the government and saying, no, you may not do this? Is that not what Christians are supposed to do in this situation? Is that not the role of the church to say, we love the truth and we will not be lied to with your propaganda? We know that you believe that there is a deeper truth, that everyone needs to be vaccinated by any means necessary, but that is actually objective truth. Why are we treating it so differently than the UK and these European countries right now? They're putting a halt on it for kids while we are saying, no, in fact, it should be mandated for kids. Right now, as you know, they're trying to get it available for 5 to 11-year-olds in America and pushing it like it's a great thing. Right now, you have people in the UK and Europe beginning to recognize natural immunity. America is not recognizing natural immunity. Why? Because Dr. F and our elitists, our utopian elitists, which we already talked about earlier, who are idolatrous, right? They think that they are God. They are not God. They need to be put back in their place in the name of Jesus. They are not God. Our elitists think that they actually just know what's best. You need to get it. We don't care about natural immunity. Poetic truth is everybody needs a vaccine. It's not about the fact that kids are not highly spreading this to other kids and that kids don't highly spread it to adults. It's adults that give it to kids. The true hospitalization rates, I mean, it's somewhere between 63,000 and 900. Is there really a difference in the end? Their deeper truth is that 100% vaccination. President Biden just said it. They asked him, remember that like 2 weeks ago? He's like, I think if we hit 97 or 98% vaccination, we'll be well on our way. It's because they believe that they know what is right, even if it means hurting children. Now, this is a very unpopular opinion that we have right now, but guess what? Dietrich Bonhoeffer's opinion, was pretty unpopular at the time too. Bonhoeffer desperately trying to get Christians to wake up and realize this Adolf Hitler guy is not good. Let that sink in for a second. Christians unwilling to listen to Bonhoeffer. We read about it now and we go, gosh, this guy's a hero. Christians would not listen to Bonhoeffer, right? Go read, I've said it a million times, and you go read history of the Soviet history and all sorts of Marxist, communist countries that killed millions of people. Every time you read those history things, you will find a lot of Christians and a lot of clergy that were supportive of the communist regime because they were like, it's social justice. They're going to actually help the poor, and it's a great movement. And there were always Christians that stood against the movement and were not only ridiculed by the clergy that were supportive of the communist regime or the Marxists, but they were imprisoned, tortured. And usually the clergy would be like, well, yeah, that's their fault because they're standing against something that is really good and righteous. Only to find out later that the very thing they stood up for, which was this communist regime, would go and slaughter millions of people. So we can read about Bonhoeffer, or you can be a Bonhoeffer. I said it. You can read about Corrie ten Boom, or you can do something about it in your lifetime. To all the Christians that think we don't need to be, that's not our thing, it's all about the gospel. What do you think happens to our ability to share the gospel unimpeded in the world, in America? What do you think happens to that if we don't stand up against this totalitarian regime that forces your child to get a vaccine, even though they have a larger chance, 4 to 6 times larger chance of being hospitalized than if they just had COVID in the first place? Even though the amount of children dying from COVID is so small, I'm not saying it's not horrible. It is. It's terrible. It's a disease. We can't do anything about it. Still, less children dying from COVID than are dying from influenza, suicide, the list goes on, suffocating, drowning. It's terrible. Every life, yeah, all of it is terrible. But what is going to stop a totalitarian regime that says, I don't mind hurting your children because we have a deeper truth, and that deeper truth is love? Does that sound like truth, or does that sound like lies? To love Christ is to love the truth. The media is lying to you. They're not going to go print a whole thing full of multiple lies, but, oh, I didn't know. We didn't know what 900,000. Sorry, 63,000. Sorry. Oh, we didn't know. We thought Sweden was only giving 1 dose. Sorry. No, instead, they've halted it for 30 and under. This is really scary stuff. What do you think happens to the ability for the church to do our job, which is to spread the good news of Jesus Christ? If they can shut you up about sharing truth about COVID, and I'm talking about undisputed truths. I'm not even talking about things that you may believe are true, okay? Things that I may believe are true. I'm talking about undisputed truths of the medical evidence that we have right now of myocarditis in young people. Enough medical evidence that these countries in Europe and the UK are saying we're not doing this to our young people. It's undisputed as it stands for now. As it stands right now. Is it not loving the truth to say no to the propaganda? Why would they be doing this? That is not love. That is wickedness. That is evil. Yes, our American government and elites are involved in evil and wickedness and idolatry. What do you think happens when we are censored for saying things that are medically 100% undisputable facts? What do you think happens to our ability to talk about Jesus Christ, Lord of the earth? Jesus Christ, the only way to salvation, not a way, the only way to salvation. What happens when it comes to telling the truth about the importance of the family? What do you think happens to our ability to share the gospel? What do you think happens to our ability to raise our own kids and train them in the way they should go to live under the lordship of Christ? That there is a design that God created the world to be in, and it is up to you and to me to fall in line with that design so that we may be blessed. And if we do not fall in that design, then we are going to fall into destruction and wickedness. What's going to happen to our ability to say that when we can't even say something that's true, undisputable medical fact? Is that not the job of the church? Church, I want to encourage you. Let's rise up. Let's say, no, we're not going to take this anymore. Let's do our job. And to all the Christians out there that listen to me going, John, I still don't think that's something that we need to be involved in. You know what I would say to you? I love you. I think you're wrong, but I have grace for you. Can I ask you just this one favor, just one thing, itty bitty favor? Will you stop? Will you stop bad-mouthing people like us? I have grace for you. I'm not even bad-mouthing you. I think you're wrong. I think you're not understanding truth. I think you're not understanding justice and what the church is supposed to do to promote justice on the earth. But I have grace for you. At the very least, will you stop coming against people like us and saying that we are being conspiracy theorists by talking about cancel culture and censorship? That's all that I'm asking. I want to encourage you, young Christian, especially if you're watching, love the truth. Loving Christ is the beginning of loving truth. And when you love Christ, you begin to love all of his truth. And it is always worth it to give your life, to risk your life, to stand up for righteousness. Woo! I hope you had a great time watching Cooper Stuff. I love you guys. Peace. Later.
Read the Bible.
Cooper Stuff!